Hey, Sean Chandler here. I've been a full-time YouTuber since February of 2019. I started my main YouTube channel, Sean Chandler Talks About, in July of 2016, and by February, 2.5 years later, I'd gone full-time, and within 3 years, I'd earned a silver play button. But this wasn't my first attempt to launch a movie review website or a nerdy blog or something like that. I had years of failures before I finally found success and something changed in my thinking. This channel, Real Creators, is all about helping you have those breakthroughs that took me years to figure out. I want you to have them sooner, but in order for that to happen, you need to hear my story. And it goes back as far back as I have memories. I've always been into nerdy, comic booky, science fiction type stuff. Most of my memories start around summer of 1989. I have some loose memories from before that, but I start having stories that I can play out from that summer. So what happened in the summer of 1989? Batman 89 came out, and my mom took me to see the movie. I loved it. I bought the action figures. I even bought all the trading cards, and I still have them to this day. That same summer, my family had previous year had moved from California to Texas, and so we did a road trip from Texas back to California, and halfway in the middle of it, we stopped overnight in some small rinky-dink little town that had a one-screen movie theater that actually had a balcony in it. It was playing Star Trek V. And we went to go see the movie there, and they told us if they didn't sell 20 tickets, they wouldn't show the movie. So we sat down, and as every person walked in, we counted heads. And those are some of my earliest childhood memories of going to the movies, seeing a comic book movie and a science fiction movie. Two of the first movies I remember anticipating them coming out and kind of following the movie news before they came out was Batman Returns and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. All throughout the 90s, my sister, mom, and I would go to Star Trek conventions and we'd dress up and everything. They had Comic Cons at the time, but at least where we were at, Star Trek conventions seemed to be more popular, and that's the sort of thing that was out there. In the late 90s, I started getting into Asian cinema, in particular Jackie Chan movies, and this led me to put up my first webpage. And it was a Jackie Chan fan page. I'd had a kind of an earlier one right before this. It was like a single page Star Wars webpage. It was literally just me being like, hey, look, here's a picture from a deleted scene from Return of the Jedi. That was the whole webpage, so it was Star Wars. Second one was a Jackie Chan fan page with movie reviews and a little counter. And after running it for like a year and a half, the counter ticked all the way up to like 1,000 views. But 990 of those were me updating the website and clicking refresh, and the other 10 were me trying to get my mother and sister to check it out. So all the way back in the early 90s, I started my very first movie website. All throughout the zeros, I was active on film websites with message boards. IMDb had a message board for years and years and years, and I'd post in there all the time. And then in the late zeros, there started being these things called blogs that became more and more popular. So I read a bunch of those. It was always in the comment section. And starting around 10-ish years ago, from time to time, I'd be like, I can make my own website. And so I would put up a blog and I'd put my movie reviews on there and my little editorials from time to time. And a few years after that, I started to see some people on this YouTube website doing video reviews. At the time, I was a youth pastor at a church. So my profession was standing up in front of people, holding their attention, using only my words. So I watched these people on YouTube doing movie reviews, all the people that you've probably watched too, Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, John Campea, John Flickinger, and I went, hey, I could probably do that too. So in 2013, that summer, I put up my very first kind of test video, and it was awful. It was terrible. And then I put out a second video, and I took 6 months off. And then I came back and I put out a few more videos. They were a little bit better, still pretty bad, 3-4 videos, and it never stuck. And I kept not following through. When it was my old website, It didn't work. I didn't follow through. When it was the blog, I did it for a little while. I didn't stick with it. I didn't get any momentum, so I didn't follow through. With the YouTube channel, for 3 years, I had false starts where I'd get excited and I'd put 2 videos out or 3 videos out, maybe even stick with it for 3 weeks, and then I would just stop. And I didn't know how to get traction. I didn't know how to build an audience. And even outside of movie stuff, I've done some other blogs about different subjects. One of them I ran for years, and I never knew how to build an audience or get any traction. Then in summer of 2016, I was actually unemployed at the time and kind of in a very much an introspective phase of life, processing through things. And in that, I kind of returned to that passion I've always had, talking movies way too much, being into nerdy stuff, knowing stuff, and wanting to share my ideas. And I went to go see actually Ghostbusters 2016, the girl Ghostbusters movie that everybody hated on the internet. I went to go see it on a date night with my wife, and I was like, okay, that was fine. There was a group of people on the internet that thought it was the worst movie ever made. There was a group of people on the internet that were like, if you don't like this movie, it's because you're a sexist. I was like, okay, these don't seem like the most reasonable takes. I was just kind of in their middle, not particularly worthy of the original, but not also the abomination some people made it out to be. Just put that idea out there. I was like, that was kind of fun. So I put out another video. And within my first 2 weeks, I put a video out that got, it was actually Star Trek related. Star Trek keeps coming up and all this. Put out a Star Trek video that got several thousand views in the first 2 days. And I had been doing blogs for years, and in years of doing this one blog, I only had like 2 or 3 blogs ever that got as many views as this video in my first 2 weeks. And I went, okay, blogging, years, little success, YouTube, 2 weeks, some success. I think there's something to this. I need to learn about it. Why is this different? Why was I successful here? What was the mechanism to which made this work that didn't work? And immediately I started studying YouTube and trying to learn everything I could about how this website worked. And I stuck with it for 9 months. And finally, after 9 months, I got my first 1,000 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing that 1,000 people cared what I was saying when I talked about movies. At the same time, as I mentioned before, I was kind of in this transitional phase of life with my career, and I was needing to get a new job because I was underemployed. And I was thinking, man, I don't know how long I can keep doing this YouTube thing and putting this much time into it if it's not really going anywhere. I mean, 1,000 subscribers is cool, but it's not generating income. It's just eating up a lot of my time. And I was debating quitting. 1,000 subscribers, debating quitting. And then I made the discovery, the thing that changed everything kind of for me, of realizing how to stand out, for me to stand out. And I was going into summer of 2017 and figured out that maybe my sweet spot would be kind of doing these rankings. And so I started doing rankings, and it took me 9 months to get the first 1,000. It only took me 3 months to get my second 1,000. And then it only took like 1 more month to get another 1,000 after that. And then going into that fall, I tweaked my formula just enough, kept learning, kept growing, trying to improve just a little bit with every video. And so I had a video that took off and ended up getting hundreds of thousands of views. And a few months after that, I kept tweaking, improving, working on my ideas. Suddenly I had some videos that got over 500,000 views. And it changed the trajectory of my life. But it wasn't an accident. It wasn't that I got lucky and shot a funny video of someone throwing a ball at me and I got hit in the balls or something like that. It wasn't some random viral thing. It was an intentional strategy of trying to figure out all the ingredients that go into a YouTube video, all the things that go into building a brand and working towards that and putting the pieces together so that in February of 2018, my channel started to just take off. And 1 year later, I put in my 2 weeks notice and went full-time as a YouTuber. At the time I'm filming this, that's a month away from being the 2-year anniversary of quitting my job. 1 month from 2 years, that's a lot of dates throwing in there. And it was sustainable. It wasn't a gimmick. It worked. And here's the impressive part, or the part that could have made it really difficult. This is January 2021, I'm saying all of this. Big movies didn't come out last year. Blockbusters took 10 months off, and it looks like they're about to take another 6 months off. And my channel is all about covering new blockbusters and franchises and ranking them. But I had a strategy for coming up with ideas and building an audience so that without even the fuel that drives my section of YouTube, it still worked. And that's what Real Creators is all about. Teaching you what I've learned on all my mini adventures with YouTube. With 15 plus years of failures, everything I learned from that, plus everything that I've learned in the 4+ years of success. I want to help you have that success quicker than I had it. I needed 15 years of failure to discover how things kind of worked. And I think I can help you get on the right track even quicker. That's what this channel is all about. Helping you take your nerdy hobby channel to the next level. Hopefully, my plan for this year is to post a new video every single week where I'll be talking about YouTube strategy, growth, getting subs, equipment, the algorithm, if I was starting out, a bunch of different things related to YouTube for different people because we're in different phases of where your channel's at. And hopefully, some of my content here will help you out along the way. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and I'm excited to go on this new adventure on this second channel that I've created here, and hopefully some of you are just starting your journey and I can help you launch it to that next level.